I have learned how to build, not once, but over and over again. I knew how to gather what I needed, how to make something steady, how to create a life that looked, from the outside, like it could sustain me. And for a while it did, until one day it didn't. No one really talks about that part. The part where something you trusted would be there forever slips through your hands. The part where you realize what you created was never actually built to support you. So I learned something new. I learned how to hold on. I held tightly onto my ideas. I held my resources close to my chest. I held my voice back just enough so I wouldn't disrupt anything that might still give me access to opportunities, to money, to safety. Because somewhere inside, a belief took shape in me. If I'm too much, I might lose everything all over again. So I became careful. I did not shrink completely, but I was cautious. Cautious not to shine too brightly, to pay attention to when I spoke, to whom I spoke, and to what was said. I became intentional about who and when I fully allowed myself to be seen. But there was something in me that refused to go quiet, a fire, a knowing, a voice that would rise up in moments I hadn't planned, in my sessions, in my teachings, in the way I would suddenly lean forward and speak as if something inside me said, "This matters. Say it." Y'all know the vibes. And every time it happened, I would feel it, that spark, that aliveness, and then that second voice, that second guessing. Why did you do that, Renita? Why are you so passionate? Was that too much? But then one day, something in me shifted. I found myself in a familiar moment, the kind where in the past I would reach just a little to feel included. Yet this time I didn't. I didn't go looking for validation, access, or inclusion. This time I didn't reach. I stayed. I stayed where I was. And I didn't ask. I didn't adjust. I didn't search the room for where I fit. I just stayed and spoke and listened. And when the moment came, I offered what I knew without softening it, without reshaping it, without asking, "Is this good enough?" And something surprising happened. Nothing broke or was taken, nothing was lost. And then later that evening, when I sat with myself, I realized something I hadn't before. I had spent so much time believing that my life, my stability, my opportunities lived outside of me with other people and in their approval and what access they could give me. But what if what I carry inside me, my fire, my voice, my way of seeing things, is not the thing that puts me at risk, but the very thing that creates my life? And suddenly I began to see it all differently. The difference between trying to hold everything together and building, because that kind of energy, the trying to hold everything together energy, it requires tension. It requires being hyper vigilant, defending, being prepared for loss, and honestly, it's exhausting. But building is something else entirely. It's quieter, more intentional, less about protecting what I have and more about creating something that can hold me, the real me. So I began again, but not in the way I had before. This time I did not build from fear. I built from truth, my truth. I built from alignment, from that steady, quiet knowing that I can feel when I slow down. So I stayed connected to what grounds me, to the practices that bring me back into my body, to the rhythm that reminds me of who I am when no one is watching. And slowly something changed. The life I was building no longer felt like something that could disappear overnight or be taken away by an outside source. It felt grounded, rooted in me. And not because nothing would ever change, but because I had stopped abandoning myself. And one day, without even realizing it, I looked around and saw it. A life that works, work that sustains me, resources that flow, spaces that felt safe. And within that life, I found ease. Not the kind of ease that comes from having everything controlled, but the kind of ease that comes from knowing, even when it rains, what I've created can and will support me. And for the first time of many, I didn't question whether it would last. I just stood there and let myself receive it, receive my life. And somewhere along the way, a new truth settled in. I don't have to grip my life to keep it. I just have to stay true to the one who's creating it.